I'm not gonna say too much. Just watch the Amazing Digital Circus last act. It was a waste. It was a waste. You mean to tell me their uploads? By the way, this is not going to be comprehensive at all. It's just my thoughts off the dome. You mean to tell me that, okay, they're uploads, right? I'm okay with them being uploads, like they're just like AI things for Kane to play with. I'm okay with that. But the problem is now they're doing the uploads, and then now, like, you're gonna show them their whole social media feeds of like their real lives, and that's supposed to give them like a sense of like fulfillment, of like, at least I know that the person that I'm copied from is like an okay person. But it's like, also though, you still have the people that are abstracted. So now the 5 people are chilling, right? Like, they have separate computer program lives. This is very Severance-like. You have the 5 separate, they're living their best life, whatever the case is. And you have the abstracted, who are like aquarium creatures. But now it's gonna be the 5 that have their lives. What about the people that got abstracted? Like, are their lives not important either? Like, now they're just animals. And to me, it's like, I sit there and I'm like, it felt so rushed, right? And then also too, when Jax abstracted, it didn't make sense to me, because I thought they were gonna do like a whole immediate res, like Berserk, or like the first episode of Naruto Shippuden, how it was like, you didn't get like what it was that was going on until 50 episodes in, when they actually had the standoff or whatever the case, Naruto infiltrating Orochimaru's base and everything. I thought they were gonna do a whole immediate res, but they were just giving us exposition. And I'm like, I didn't like the way that they went about that. It's like, I needed more to feel like I felt a connection to the character Ribbit, like just in that short period of time. But most people aren't going to be able to do that. It felt very rushed, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the fudge is going on? And then that last end credit scene with everybody getting on the bus, I'm not sure if that's people like getting on the bus, because you could see something in the background. I'm not sure if it's the one person's bar, and they just all happen to be there. But then it's also weird to me though, because then Mateo's there, but then I don't remember seeing like Kinger and his people. But you never really got a good glimpse of who people were on their social media feeds, because it's like, okay, whatever, like at least you're seeing the people. But I don't know, I wasn't able to make like a name to the face with Kinger and them, and Queen. And mind you too, I felt like they were a lot more grown than the rest of them too. So like, why are they all taking the bus? If you're a computer programmer, you should not be taking the bus, right? Especially if you're in Missouri, which is where the thing was taking place. Like, if it's in Missouri, you in the Midwest, you need to be able to drive around. Like, there's no public transport. I shouldn't say there's no public transportation, but the public transportation in the Midwest, for those who live in the Midwest, no, it's not there. So it's like, no, but it's just, the whole thing was like, it felt like a waste of space movie, bro. A waste of space last episode. It's like, you set up, like, I'm not gonna lie, the show kind of felt like anthology based, but we were getting like little drops. And then now for it to just end like that, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. It was still like cool, but I like the short story. What's it called? I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. That short story was a better story than what this ended up being as. And it really just goes to show, like, when it comes to like the ending of a show, like that really does make or break the deal of whether the show is good or not. To me, and I understand that the metaphor might be, it's like, okay, you're able to find meaning in your life even if, you don't quite know what the meaning is. It's like Pomni had the whole thing with like, I'm not Abigail, I'm Pomni because I'm inside the world, or whatever the case is. But it's still like, no, that should have been done more executed. And also, you baited and switched me. That's what I didn't like, because Pomni went to go hug Jax, and Jax starts like going bright or whatever the case is. I thought Jax was gonna get out of it. I thought he was gonna get out the trenches. We were gonna have like a whole thing where then Jax was going to, because he was responsible, I would say, for Ribbit abstracting. So then he was gonna do the thing. I thought it was gonna be like a little like leapfrog sort of thing, but that didn't end up happening. Now they're just aquarium creatures, and I'm supposed to be happy with that. Like let them be computer programs, okay, but at least like let them have their sentience. Like, I don't know. If I had to rate the movie, gang, if I had to rate the show, I'm not gonna lie, I think this ending brought it to like a 5.5 for me. Like, I think before it was like at a 7 or 8. It wasn't I'm not gonna lie, like, I know some people really like ride or die by the show. Like, it was cool and I binged it, but it wasn't like nothing too crazy. I was kind of like just looking for the layers. I think more so was the short story that got me entranced into it. But if the short story is like an 8 or 9, which is what it would be, I think before I would have had it like the show at a 7.5, but this ending has brought it down. Yeah, and then yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna say don't watch it, but like I wouldn't necessarily say like spend your money to go watch it. I just been on like a not watching YouTube sort of grind, or not trying to watch videos on my devices grind. So that's why I went in, and like my focus has been better because of it. So I think I was like able to look for details. Like I wouldn't say I called it, because I thought what happened to Jax was that he was getting like abused, but like by like a parent or something like that, because you had the whole scene with his like mask and everything being taken off, and then he like tries to keep it on himself. I was seeing that, I was like, oh, okay, that means something has probably happened that made him feel like his body he was getting taken advantage of. And so then the whole thing with his mom made sense. I also think too, it's like a PG-13 sort of thing, so they're probably not gonna go into crazy detail. But yeah, no, I think the symbolism was pretty cold, but I think it didn't need to end in this episode. I think you had like 2-3 more episodes where you could have really, like, you could have had a whole episode where it's just, instead of doing exposition, you like really commit to the in media res piece, and you go through and we like learn and grow with Jax and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, exactly. We learn and go through with Jax after the abstraction happens. Then you have like a 2-3 episode, kind of like what they did with Jujutsu Kaisen, right? Where they go back in the past for like an arc. That's what they needed to do. And then I would felt more connection. And then I ain't gonna lie, if you're gonna go with that metaphor, I think Palm needed to be able to get Jax out of his stuff. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, yeah, no, it's all right. It's all right. Also, one last thing. I think that the group forgave Kane too fast. It felt like a children's show or a children's movie, right? Where they're like, oh, you didn't realize what it was that you're doing, but we forgive you. No. I would have held a lot more resentment, and I needed to see more of the growth and connections coming back. Don't give it to me in like a little fast forward, like Austin and Ally speed up sequence. No, we don't do that. You actually need to like walk me through it. It low-key, this show could have went on for like 5 to 6 more episodes and it wouldn't have dragged anything on. I just felt like things were rushed. And it's like you had the pieces there, and maybe you have the explanation of, okay, well, we're not gonna like unabstract them, whatever the case is. But then like have the reasoning, and you don't gotta say it like explicitly. Like they didn't say explicitly like, oh my gosh, we're not actually real people, whatever the case is. Like trust the audience, obviously, but then still it's like make that make more sense, because you kind of just like had that happen, and I don't know.